So, hello and welcome to this live stream. Today we are going to talk about the recent inflation in Europe and the energy crisis that we are going to face. And here, your today's host is Shahin Me, and Nima is our guest, and he is going to talk about. He's a specialist actually in forecasting stock market, and right now he's working on uh, inflation prediction. And can you explain more about your research and how you can see the prospect of energy in Europe?
Yes, more likely I am the specialist in the field of the machine learning, not the
Right.
economics, but I have some papers in the this subject as well. But the things that happening, it's not something that machine learning can understand it because it is something that
Mhm.
20 it is something that happening that we are not seeing since 25 years ago. And as you know, the inflation rate in for example, the Germany is the highest in 40 years. The last month it was about 7.4, and
Sorry for interruptions. Some of our subscribers just told me that the quality of sound is not good enough. So, may I ask you to speak louder?
yes, of course.
Thank you very much.
And yes, it is something that I'm foreseeing for 25 years. And now, as you know, the Federal Reserves take some significant actions, and it can be comparable with the 80s, because in the 80s the United States suffers from the inflation, and now they know how to fight with the inflation. But unfortunately, in the Europe, the European Central Bank, because it takes some actions very late because of the energy crisis, because of the consumers not consume that much in the economy. Because of that, it takes actions very lately. And the problem about the inflation in this situation is that the problem we have with the energy,
Mhm.
because the government cannot use the money easing.
Can we divide this inflation into two parts, like one part for coronavirus and the pandemic, and one part for the war that we faced in Ukraine,
Yes, of
or
course.
energy crisis,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
how much is for this one, how much is for that one?
Yeah, about the inflation in the Europe, we can say that the uh, main main trigger, it was the COVID, but the war in the Ukraine is just like a fuel
Mhm.
that you put in the fire
Mhm.
and make it bigger. But about the US, yes, in the US, as you know, it is the story is
Mhm.
different, because the they use the Trump administration, and after that the Biden administration use the money easing a lot.
Mhm.
Because of that, they print a lot of money. When you print a lot of money, it's
Yeah, sure.
just the value of the money will be decrease.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, how do you see the prospect of economy in near future in Europe? We have some relief from the coronavirus, and from the other side, we have the effect of the war in Ukraine. And do you think that they are gonna offset each other, or like in the war, can the effect will be unprecedented, and we still should expect more or even the same amount of inflation for the next year?
It's depends on the actions that the European Central Bank will be take, and and of course the about the war, what the Putin and Zelensky will do in the coming negotiations, and one of the good things can now happen, but it's not probable. It's that the war in the Ukraine is finished. The wars in some way resolved, but it is something unlikely after the murder of the one of the near people to Putin's daughter. It is something that it's not likely now. But about the actions that European Central Bank can take, it is very hard, because if the interest rate goes up, yes, you can fight with the inflation, but it has a price. The price is that the working people, the employment rate will go up, because the industry will not invest money, because the money is in the higher interest.
So we talked about the measurements, and we have the recent European tax and some measurement. One of them was 15% reduction in gas consumption. And what do you think about its effect on European economy, and especially like countries like Germany, that they are dependent on the importing gas from Russia? And now who should reduce this 15%, like economy or industry, or just normal citizens?
Everybody. At the first point is everybody must reduce their consumption. But of course, the things is important about the consumption. It is the consumption of the gas, and consumption of gas, most part, is not because of the electricity, because they use in some refineries, some industries,
Furnaces.
yes, and because of that, I think it is more important to see how we can make it zero in the some parts. For example, because for some industry it is essential. Without the gas, they cannot work. Because of that, we as citizens, and of course, the other companies that use gas, but they can use another alternative, they must go use that. But it is hard to say that these measures will be solve the problem, because if, for example, there is some forecast that if the gas, all of the gas came from the Russia, all of a sudden stopped in the winter, the GDP of the Germany, which is the biggest economy in the Europe, will be decreased by 30%.
Interesting.
During the COVID, it's about 20%, and the COVID restrictions, it was very, very, very restricted, and it was very something that for some industry is not possible to work. For example, the hotels, the hair cutters, they cannot work they couldn't work during this time. But now, just going the gas of the Russia, they will be like minus 30% in the GDP. It is a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And a reduction in gas consumption for some industries means shut down the production line, because, for example, you have furnace, and this furnace is working with gas, and this furnace is going to work like 15 years or 20 years, and you cannot change it easily. But
of course,
this is a kind of experience for us that learned us that we need to have like better prospect and change the energy needed for the new planning, like make the furnaces working with electricity or other renewable energy. And so this is the moment that we need to decide for our future. If we are gonna have a more reliable and robust industry, we need to do some measures like diversify our energy sources, especially making towards their
renewable and other sources. For example, one of the main problem of the gas problem in the Europe, it is that they rely on Russia very, very much, and it is the main problem. If they started, for example, in 2018, President Trump said that why you buy gas from Russia to Europe, but the politician here, they don't listen, yes, to Trump because they just buy a cheap resource, and they don't want to use LPG, for example. LPG technology, the gas liquefied into the ships, and from the ships come to some LNG ports, and from there you have access to the gas. And President Trump said that you can buy LNG from the Qatar and also from the USA.
But the point is that it needs infrastructure, and this infrastructure is not gonna be constructed in one day.
Yeah.
So we need to overthink about everything, not overthink, like think more about the future of the infrastructure or the industry we want to plan for.
Of course, it is important always to have plan B and plan C, maybe. Yes, it is the war in the Ukraine. It is something that it's not in the plan D neither. But the important thing is that always to have some options. For example, it was possible to Nord Stream 1 have some explosion or some problems, but they just rely on the Russian gas and some storage, which is just store the gas came from the Russia, and it is the main problem now. And maybe because of that, this winter will be suffer from the harsh environment and the weather, and because the Angela Merkel and the other politician relies on the Putin, and it is the result.
Yes.
But just remember that this war is just the fuel for the fire, the inflation fire. The main problem is COVID because of the money easing. I don't know. Maybe there is some other action that can take by the European Central Bank, but they use the easiest solution, and because of that, now we have something very different, and nobody knows what will be happen, because it depends on a lot of action that a lot of player can take, and because of that, it is hard to predict.
Yeah, sure. And these days we are talking a lot about the resilience of the cities, robustness of the cities. In terms of environment, we are talking about the circular economy, how we can make the city sustainable. In particular environment, like the raw material we are using, and I think the industry and how we make money and how we produce money, the source of energy is also very important in terms of the robustness of the cities. So by concentrating one source of energy, which is gas from one country, which is Russia, is not the way that we want to make our city sustainable or resilient in situation like war. If we are gonna predict it better. We are gonna be like more cautious. We could diversify our energy sources. And right now, I think is the best moment to think twice about the energy that we are gonna consume for the next decade. And I think it would be awesome if we we want to diversify our energy. Let's start diversify it in renewable energy.
Of course, it is very important. But as you know, the big things not happen in a one night or one day.
Overnight,
Yeah,
yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching us, and we wish, I don't know, cold winter or warm winter. We don't know. Maybe climate change now can
Yeah.
help us. Yeah, by giving us the warmer winter.
Yeah, I wish you a nice Christmas in the next 3 months. And we are gonna be more with you in this week. Have a nice week and goodbye. Bye bye.
Bye bye.